Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, in last lecture we did about the water excretory routes, the routes and the sources by which water was being lost through the body. Last point was left, that is about feces, that how much water is lost through the body through the fecal material. An average of 150 ml of water per day is lost through the body from the feces. But this water amount that is being lost through this route is variable. It depends upon the pathological condition, like if there is diarrhea, more water loss will be observed, and if there is constipation, less water loss will be observed. This flow chart is demonstrating the overall water cycle, water balance and water turnover in the body, and it will be comprised of water intake as well as water output. Regarding water intake, drinking water and plain water in the form of fruit juices, milk, beverages, it will be round about 1500 ml or 1.5 liters. Solid foodstuff will be almost 700 ml. It means 700 ml water will be produced from consuming solid food. Metabolic water, that is 300 ml. This is the water we discussed in last lecture. It's also known as endogenous water. This metabolic water is produced as a result of metabolism, as a result of oxidation of foodstuff. So if we total this amount 1500 ml, 700 ml and 300 ml, it will be round about 2500 ml. These are all the water intake sources, that is comprised of water exogenous source as well as endogenous source. Now as far as water output is concerned, the first one major route is urine, 1500 ml water loss, skin through sweating or perspiration 450 ml of water, lungs through respiration 400 ml of water, and feces 150 ml of water is being lost. And if we calculate and sum up this amount of water loss, it's again 2500 ml. So this is how water turnover and water balance is maintained in the body by the water intake sources and water output sources. Now we are moving towards the abnormal water metabolism. That is, if there is water deficiency, there will be dehydration. If there will be more excess of water in the body, accumulation of water, it will be resulting in edema or water intoxication. So two main types are there, dehydration and water intoxication. First of all, we will discuss about dehydration. Dehydration, as you are very much familiar with this term, it's very common phenomena that is practiced in daily life. It can be observed in your surroundings, that if the person is deficient of water and if water is depleted in his body, it will be resulting in dehydration. So dehydration means deficiency and less amount of water in the body. It can be resulted due to decreased water intake. Water intake is less sufficient, it's not adequate, it's not up to the mark, and it can be due to more water loss as well. There are chances that water intake is proper but water is lost at a higher rate than water intake. It will also result in dehydration. So this is mainly primary dehydration, which is due to the pure water loss. Types of dehydration: primary dehydration, secondary dehydration and mixed dehydration. First of all, we will talk about primary dehydration. If there is pure water deficiency or pure water depletion, the type of dehydration will be primary. Now what are the causes? As we have discussed, water intake will be stopped, it can be insufficient or inadequate, and no parallel loss of salt. What does meant by parallel? It means water is being lost, salt can also be lost, but salt loss is very negligible as compared to water. When there will be major water loss, it will be primary dehydration. Now what would happen to the ECF volume? As we have discussed in first lecture, ECF is which compartment? Extracellular fluid. What would happen in dehydration when there is deficiency of water in the body? ECF plasma blood, it will be affected. Obviously its volume will be reduced, but ECF wants to maintain and compensate its water loss. How it will compensate? It will drag water from the cells and the water that is contained in ICF, intracellular fluid. So ECF volume will be maintained at the expense of ICF. and it will cause intracellular dehydration, and this is the stage when we will feel thirst. Causes of dehydration. Dehydration causes can be excessive sweating, in which water loss is majorly. Salt loss can also be in some conditions. If there is very excessive sweating, sodium loss will be more as compared to water loss. Diarrhea, loss of water, loss of electrolytes, vomiting, loss of water, loss of electrolytes. Adrenal cortex dysfunction. This is the gland which secretes a mineralocorticoid hormone, that is aldosterone, and that aldosterone is associated with sodium reabsorption in the body, and that sodium reabsorption is ultimately associated with water retention. So adrenal cortex dysfunction can be the cause of uh, primary and secondary dehydration. Loss of fluids in burns. When there are burns in the body, when tissue is burned, skin is a tissue. When tissue burns, interstitial fluid that is present within the spaces of tissues will be lost, water will be lost. So, primary dehydration will be majorly. Failure of kidney. Kidney failure can be associated with primary dehydration, and if there is a defect in kidney tubules, it can be associated with the sodium retention and sodium excretion as well. So, when we talk about sodium deficiency, it will be secondary dehydration. When we talk about water deficiency, plain water deficiency, pure water deficiency, it is about primary dehydration. If kidney is failed and it is excreting more water than normal, it will cause primary dehydration. And if it is less excreting water, its tubules are unhealthy to control the amount of water that should be excreted or reabsorbed, then it can be resulted in excess water storage in the body. ADH deficiency. ADH is what? Antidiuretic hormone, as we have discussed in last lecture, in hormonal regulation of urine. Antidiuretic. What is meant by diuretic? The formula, the chemical, the compound that cause frequent urination, that causes more water loss, more urinary output through the body. But antidiuretic means it has contrary effect, it has anti-parallel effect, it has a reverse effect, opposite effect to the diuretic. It means anti-diuretic hormone will not allow more amount water loss through the body, rather it will cause the reabsorption of water through the kidney tubules. When ADH will be deficient, like in diabetes insipidus patients, what would happen? Less ADH will cause less reabsorption of water in the body and allowing more and more water to be lost from the body through the urine. Degrees of dehydration. Degrees are different. Types are different. Types are primary, secondary, and mixed. Degrees are mild, moderately severe, and very severe. In case of mild dehydration, only thirst will be a positive sign. In case of moderately severe dehydration, thirst will be more severe, dry mouth, and oliguria. Oliguria will be, this is a term used for less urine production. Obviously, when there will be dehydration, urinary amount will be reduced. And third category is very severe dehydration, in which all the first two features like thirst, dry mouth, oliguria will be observed, along with special features, that is delirium, abnormal mental state, and decrease in physical and mental capabilities. Secondary dehydration. In primary dehydration, water loss was the major cause. In secondary dehydration, pure salt depletion, electrolyte depletion, sodium depletion. It happens when there is deficiency of salt and we are replenishing the body with the plain water. When deficiency is of salt and electrolyte or sodium and we are giving the patient pure water, it can't replenish the losses. It means we should treat this with the electrolyte solution, with the saline solution. So there will be secondary dehydration due to the deficiency of salt, electrolyte, or sodium mainly. Because sodium is the predominant cation electrolyte of the ECF, that's why secondary dehydration is also called as sodium depletion. Now, special causes of secondary dehydration. Excessive sweating. In excessive sweating, what would happen? Electrolyte loss will be major as compared to water loss. It means concentrated saline solution can be lost. Salt-free diet. There is another factor that hypertensive patients, cardiac patients, usually they are over concerned about their diet so that their BP couldn't be shoot. So they try to use less sodium formulations. They try to consume those diets that are salt free. So that salt free diet can lead to totally deficiency of sodium that will ultimately cause secondary dehydration. Third one cause, GI fluid loss. GI means gastrointestinal fluid, and that fluid can be lost through vomiting, through diarrhea, in cholera disease. Through vomiting, water will be lost, salt will be lost. So vomiting and diarrhea are the examples of both, mainly both types of dehydration. So mixed dehydration will be observed. We can give this example in primary, we can give this example in secondary and mixed as well. In diarrhea, in vomiting, HCl is lost, so chloride is lost. Then can be sodium loss along with chloride, so secondary dehydration. In diarrhea, major anion that is being lost in diarrhea is bicarbonate ion, and along with bicarbonate there are chances that sodium may bind with that bicarbonate and that is lost through the body. In cholera, again the same secretions, again same electrolytes are lost along with water. Pancreatic or biliary fistulas, this is a new term. Pancreatic duct and bile duct, it may suffer from holes, and there can be openings in the ducts, in these gastrointestinal tract ducts, in pancreatic duct, in bile duct, and through these holes or openings GI fluids can be lost. And when these fluids will be lost, there are chances that sodium can be lost along with water. So they may be a cause, they may be an option for the sodium deficiency, ultimately leading to secondary dehydration. In all these factors, we are discussing about the sodium depletion mainly. Urinary loss of sodium in Addison disease. Addison disease is the adrenal cortex dysfunction in which aldosterone is less excreted, less secreted, and when there will be less secretion of aldosterone, that is a mineralocorticoid that is responsible for sodium reabsorption. Addison disease will be there, in which more sodium is lost through the urine. Obviously, in Addison disease, when gland is not functioning properly, it is not secreting aldosterone hormone at a normal rate. Aldosterone is associated with sodium retention and sodium reabsorption. When there will be less aldosterone, less reabsorption of sodium will be there, and more loss of sodium will be observed in the urine. Chronic renal disease, that can be a cause of sodium loss through the body, in which kidney tubules are unhealthy to reabsorb the electrolytes. Diabetic acidosis, as yet you are not familiar about pathology of this disease and complications of this disease, but up to this scope you should know that in uncontrolled diabetes there are more keto acids productions, and as these organic keto acids can decrease the pH, can increase the acidity load, can increase the hydrogen ion concentration. So our alkali reserve, that is the basic negative ion bicarbonate, and this bicarbonate neutralizes the acidic load in the body. And obviously when there is more high acid production in diabetes, in diabetic acidosis, these acids should be neutralized. And how they will be neutralized? By the increased use of bicarbonates, and bicarbonates will not work alone, they will bound with the sodium, so sodium can also be deficient. Last one causes the use of diuretics. Diuretics are the drugs that are used to increase the urine production from the body. And when we will use or a patient will use diuretic drug, it will result in more water loss. So there are chances that sodium or other electrolytes are lost at a higher rate. So this can be a chance, and this can be a reason or cause of sodium depletion through the body. Symptoms of dehydration: high pulse rate, sunken eyeballs, lethargy, low blood pressure, less and reduced skin turgor, and if all these conditions are untreated, that may lead to coma and death. Now, why sunken eyeballs? Because skin is a tissue. Skin is a tissue, interstitial fluid is less due to dehydration, then sunken eyeballs will be observed. Blood pressure will be low, and pulse rate will be high due to the deficiency of water, because circulatory system has to be run, and it has to be compensated by increasing the pulse rate. And blood pressure is directly proportional to the amount of water in the body, amount of water in the ECF, blood, plasma. When water is less, pressure is less. Chemical and biochemical features that are observed in primary and secondary dehydration are ECF volume reduction. In primary dehydration, ECF volume is reduced. When it is reduced, at start, ECF volume is kept normal at the expense of ICF. But when dehydration is not treated and water intake is not proper, ultimately ICF volume will also reduced. That will lead to intracellular dehydration, and ultimately ECF will also be reduced. Thirst is not a striking feature, so absence of thirst can't be a positive finding of secondary dehydration. What does it mean? Thirst is the main cause of primary dehydration because thirst is directly associated with the water deficiency. This sentence means if there is no thirst present, it doesn't mean that secondary dehydration is not there, because thirst is not directly associated with the secondary dehydration. It is associated with primary dehydration. Another cause for secondary dehydration is anorexia and nausea. Anorexia is what? It's a eating disorder in which vomiting can be there. When there is vomiting, loss of GI fluid will be observed, in which sodium chloride can be lost. Obviously, sodium chloride is a major electrolyte, so it will cause secondary dehydration by the deficiency of sodium. Muscular cramps will be observed due to the deficiency of sodium, because muscular activity depends upon this electrolyte. Plasma volume will be reduced because sodium causes retention of water, and if this condition will not be treated timely by the saline solution, it will result into death. It can be lethal. Why? Due to oligemic shock. Oligemic shock is reduced plasma volume. In next lecture, we will discuss about treatments of dehydration along with mixed dehydration. Thank you very much.